Listen, son, we need to have a chat, and it's not going to be easy, all right? Not everything you get in your life is what you want. You don't always get what you want, in fact. And just because you want Jude Bellingham doesn't mean you get him. Although, maybe it does, because we don't know if we're fitting together puzzle pieces that are constantly changing, or whether some of these people don't really know what's going on. But there are a few big signifiers which tell us don't necessarily put all your eggs in the Jude Bellingham-shaped basket. Welcome back to Laurence McKenna channel, where we do love breaking down why people put things in baskets. It's good to have you. If you've not already hit subscribe, hit it down there. If you're interested in the subject, then let me know. If you have your own theories on what is going on at Liverpool, midfield-wise, Jude Bellingham-wise, just transfer-wise, let me know down there. We will be making lots of videos during the international break about where clubs are at. And I'm interested in people's theories because, frankly, just going around on websites, reading other people's quotes isn't stimulating me enough. But David Ornstein's quotes in The Athletic were very interesting. And frankly, I take a lot of things that people leak to the media and leaks and quotes from big people seriously. But have we really learned all that much more about the Liverpool ownership through what David Ornstein said, despite the fact that he's an incredibly insightful journalist? There are just times where I think, yeah, we've repeated a lot of stories over the last 24 to 18 months about Jude Bellingham. We know the ownership isn't always willing to pay the most amount of money. We know that there are, should we put it, leaks that go on during negotiations to try and get money up or down, to try and scare people into doing certain things, but also just to mislead people. There are smokescreens that happen sometimes. And maybe some of us in the Liverpool fan base have sort of got used to this. There's not going to be a lot of theorizing in this because, well, we don't necessarily know what is going on at the club and we don't know where Dortmund, Liverpool, Man City and Real Madrid are at, though we have some decent ideas. We also know that the reports in Liverpool and on Liverpool and around Liverpool and from Liverpool legends and from chats that we've had all differ massively. Some say Jude Bellingham's already signed. Some say he's already signed for City. Some say he's already signed for Real Madrid. Some say, there are different some says in every different sector of the world right now. We know reality will play out as one. What I'm saying is don't get your dopamine hits to rely on this Jude Bellingham story. It's a real question and a genuine question. Start the video. Before we get into all of this, would you rather Liverpool got Bellingham +1 or a midfield of 3 new players this summer that cost cumulatively that? Because I'm trying to work out how Liverpool do their budgeting right now, and it's kind of an interesting one. I don't know if it goes down to, Virgil van Dijk. That is worthwhile signing that player. That won Liverpool the league right there. But at the same time, why would they then not spend on other players? What is the spending practice that Liverpool are putting into place right now is what I'm trying to work out here. And sometimes it seems so sporadic. Sometimes we get misled by the owners because they're trying to smoke screen things. Not even the owners, just the staff. They're trying to smoke screen things. They give things to journalists and that throws the journalists off. And then a week later, hey, there's the player holding the shirt. Sometimes it's just right, like with Chouameni, right? He was using us to get more money from Real Madrid. He was never going to sign for Liverpool. But we were like, hey, we'd love to sign this guy. I'd love to know what you guys think is happening here at Liverpool. Because seemingly, people are making more money out of the clicks that they get for writing a Liverpool article than anything else right now. And I want to start a discourse around this rather than it just be like, hey, I know, I'm your ITK. Because all the ITKs are wrong right now. Hey, some of us get invested. I have been invested. I would love for Liverpool to have a 2 or 3 man midfield in this transitional period that includes Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham is an international star, a world-class talent, and someone who, at this age, will evolve to become one of the best midfielders of his generation, should all things go well. Inshallah, as they say. Right? But alongside that, I am also aware that Liverpool need to develop their midfield beyond just Jude Bellingham. Whilst he would be a key linchpin piece, there are other pieces that need adding to this. And therefore, I kind of go back and look at a bit of history around Liverpool, right? When Liverpool first signed Mane, he was a right winger for Liverpool, though he was a bit more than a right winger. He was slightly more incisive, slightly more direct, slightly more goal-scoring, should we say. But in time, he became a left winger. In time, he became a striker for the side. In time, he became a much more adaptable piece that Jurgen Klopp and whichever assistant coach it was loved to use. He was a leader on the field and a more silent influence off it. But what we saw, and what we maybe look back and think now, is Mane arrived at the club as if he was these pieces. Now, maybe Jurgen Klopp and whoever else was signing him knew that 34 million that Liverpool spent on Mane was worth it. They knew that they had an adaptable, brilliant forward who was a great personality for the squad and would fit in really well. But you could, like Steve Jobs says, you can only really join the dots backwards, right? So maybe we do similar. And therefore, when we're looking at these new signings, what we're looking for, maybe because some of the quotes that come out of Liverpool, for instance, the quotes that say things like, we're only going to sign world-class talents or young, promising pieces, nothing in between, make us then think of what we think that is. Now, with that, that would not discount a lot of the other people in this list. But bear in mind, Liverpool are currently adapting. Sometimes it's a 4-4-2, sometimes it's a 4-3-3, like the old 4-3-3. Sometimes it's a 4-2-4, where there's 2 men in midfield, Hakpo dropping a little bit deep. There are a lot of different moving parts that these new signings, and in particular this new signing, the piece that Liverpool want to hang their hat on over the next few years that replace your Oxlade-Chamberlains, Keiters, Hendersons, Milners, Fabinhos, Thiagos. Who is that going to be? These pieces need to begin to show us a bit of where we're going, right? Now, Matteo Nunes is one of those names that Liverpool have reportedly already got in the bag, right? A great piece, but maybe slightly languid since he came to the Premier League. Maybe because body language plays a big part in how we read players, right? Maybe because he thought he was going to Liverpool at one point, now he's at Wolves. Now he just wants that move. He wants to get there, and it's like, don't get injured before you get this move, right? But maybe at the same time, he is just that kind of player. But we know he's good at progression of the ball. We know he's a good carrier of the ball. We know that he is physically built to deal with the Premier League. Would he sit well in a right side of midfield? Yes. Would he sit well at the base of midfield as a 2 with Fabinho, with a Hakpo dropping a little deep? Absolutely. Is his interplay going to develop over the next few years if he's coached by a top-class coach at somewhere like Liverpool? Absolutely. Is he a world-class talent? Possibly at a similar level to the place where Mane was, where it's like, hey, you're good in the Premier League. Where can we get you to? On a similar vein to that, is it Mason Mount who comes in as well? Mason Mount reportedly doesn't want this new deal, or does want this new deal, or is thinking about this new deal at Chelsea, but his father apparently would really love for him to go to Liverpool. You could see him playing on an 8 and that left side for Liverpool, but you can also see him as an incisive left wing option that Liverpool have been fielding, say, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in recent games. He would be a bit more direct, but he'd also be able to win the ball back. He's very good at winning the ball back high up the field. He's not got the height that maybe Liverpool want out there, but he does have a lot of the industry and athleticism and reading of the game that Liverpool want. Chelsea fans themselves have called him a world-class talent. So let's not cast him out just because he hasn't been getting games recently for Chelsea, isn't maybe in Graham Potter's plans, or is, or at some point was, or Chelsea fans maybe don't want him now, so they talk him down. He's an interesting and industrious world-class talent who, again, fulfills a lot of what Liverpool are looking for right now. Then you've got Pedro Goncalves, someone whose release clause is 52 million for Sporting. Sporting, of course, have their own good season. The Portuguese league extremely strong at the moment. And we've seen that a lot of the Portuguese players and probably some of the leagues that have been less well regarded in recent years have actually transitioned quite nicely. You could say Nunes has been I'd say a success of a signing in terms of transitioning into the new league, even if people want to make compilations of whatever it is. So someone with an excellent touch, someone who isn't as raw, in inverted commas, would fit very well into Liverpool's midfield. But then you've got a whole host of central continental players who play for Gladbach, someone who plays for Leipzig, someone who plays for Leverkusen, someone who plays for Leipzig. There's so many different players, and you can go Anton Stach or Stach, depending on whether you want to go in English or European. Neuhaus, right? You've then also probably got a Manu Kone. You've probably got a Moise Caicedo from a Brighton, possibly a McAllister. Both those guys probably going to cost you a little more because of where Brighton are at, where De Zerbi is currently at. Do Liverpool even have the money for an 80 million Moise Caicedo signing? All these players could be part of an incredible Liverpool midfield. Could possibly dampen the blow or soften the blow of not getting a Jude Bellingham. But at the same time, who are they fitting in alongside? We know Liverpool are losing Firmino, someone who's incredibly good at hooking up the front and the back. We know that it might be a Wirtz or someone like that from from Bayern Leverkusen. We know that it could be a is it Samardzic? Samardzic from Udinese. Could it be maybe a Zabozlai from Leipzig? Could it be maybe a Sangare who was at PSV? PSV have a good relationship with Liverpool already. All these guys are young, promising talents. There are some good underlying numbers, though Zagare seems a little bit more raw and possibly not what Liverpool immediately need because they're already making up for other people's deficiencies within the team. Liverpool are looking for a midfielder here that hits the ground running or can instantly go into the new system that Klopp wants. They cannot afford another transitional season. And that's where I'm kind of interested to see that Liverpool in recent years seemingly have put all of their eggs into a Bellingham-shaped basket. But here's the interesting thing. Just because you don't hear anything from Liverpool and we fit a load of narratives that get big clicks, Liverpool clearly have been sniffing around Bellingham, but that never means there's been a solid relationship or offer made, though we understand that there possibly has been. Doesn't mean that's the only option. We've sold ourselves on this, right? And I very much sold myself on it. I thought Liverpool would be all in for Bellingham, going for such a promising decade long of talent would just make perfect business sense, right? They've done it before with someone like a Virgil van Dijk. But the market that they're competing in is against basically industrial states at this point, right? These people have industrialized in some way, and there is elements of sports washing, but also elements of hey, we just have more cash than you. We have more of an industry. We have more of a infrastructure than you do. City have that. Real Madrid have that. Liverpool need to compete. And whilst they might want to go on about, hey, third most whatever in the world, third most income, third most profit, and it's definitely not profit, but third most turnover, all these things are great, but do they actually translate to success out in the field? If Liverpool are going to go down this route of Nunez, Mason Mount, these kind of guys, they'll be signing some world-class talents. But weirdly, Liverpool fans might see this as some form of compromise away from Jude Bellingham and see it as a dopamine loss to the Man City guys on Twitter because it will be lauded over Liverpool fans for a long time. So they don't want to take that L online where actually someone like Klopp may already want a Jude Bellingham. Now, I'm not saying Jude Bellingham wouldn't be an incredible signing for Liverpool. What I'm saying is, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't go out there and go, hey, we have actually, we've signed Bellingham. And I'll hang my hat on that. Because that doesn't always happen. There is going to be an element of disappointment when inevitably I think someone like Jude Bellingham signs for a Man City or a Real Madrid. But that does not mean that there are not rebuilding elements to this Liverpool side, which could be incredibly exciting. And what I don't want to do is dampen the signing of someone like a Nunez or anyone that Liverpool will have, because they will have to invest heavily this summer. And some of you will be saying, well, the logic here is invest heavily in Jude Bellingham. But Jude Bellingham is not the only part this Liverpool team need right now, right? He could be one of how do I always get signed? He could be one of many signings, but only if Liverpool are willing to invest. Another sign. Sometimes I say something true and then the sirens go. Is this some sort of signal, is what you're asking me? I don't know. You tell me. But what I'm saying is, Liverpool right now have put their eggs in a transitional basket. Now, Liverpool might not need to sign Jude Bellingham, and I think that's probably the case. But these other signings should not have that dampened because of that. Jurgen Klopp should not be blamed for that. FSG, they should take an element of blame here for the way they run the club, but it's not about blame. I don't think this should become one big blame game for Liverpool this summer. If Bellingham didn't exist, if the huge money didn't exist, then I think Liverpool will be looking at some of these signings, those names that I've just put out there, a transition and a changing shape in the midfield to accommodate these new signings, to make a new system moving forward. Man City have made it click in recent weeks with Haaland. I think Liverpool are going to find a period where they make it click with Nunez, with Hakpo, with Salah. And remember a few years ago when everyone went, I don't really know about some... Is Salah back up to Mane, is what people are asking? Is it really going to work here, and here? some of these things need to be, and I know this sounds like incredible reframing, but some of these things, you can only read them in the fullness of time. And I think that's what this Liverpool summer is about to be. Because if, and I do probably believe this at this point, Jude Bellingham is going to go to a City or to a Real Madrid, then that player was never meant to go to Liverpool in the first place because, well, it's a different kind of player to maybe what we want. But I'd be interested to know what you guys think. Where do you think he ends up? Do you still think there is hope for Liverpool in signing Jude Bellingham? And realistically, is putting all of your hope into a Jude Bellingham-shaped basket really what Liverpool want to do right now? Or do they need a full squad overhaul, or at least a full midfield reinforcement to the experience of a Fabinho, Thiago, maybe a Henderson cameo, maybe a Henderson start in X game, Y game? And does it worry you as to where Liverpool are going right now, considering the noises and some of FSG's other investments in, the Red Sox in recent years, where it hasn't been always on, or even just in Liverpool, where they seemingly have fallen behind others needlessly in recent years? Let me know what you guys think. I think I made a case as to why Liverpool should not, but also could sign Jude Bellingham. But let me know in the comments below, and I'll chat to you guys in a little while. Much love.